Hey, buddy. I have to tell you all, it's great to see you. Hello, Cleveland. Don't jump. Folks, I was reminiscing as we drove to the station. I spent the bulk of my adult life driving to the Amtrak station. I commuted every day from Wilmington, Delaware to Washington, D.C. when I got elected as a young senator right after my wife and daughter were killed, and I didn't plan on staying in the Senate, but I agreed I'd stay for 6 months a long time ago, and I started commuting. And the fact is, they tell me I've logged more than 2,100,000 miles on Amtrak. So it's good to be here. It's not as fast as a helicopter, but I made a lot of family friends on Amtrak. So I'm looking forward to getting on the train with you guys. I want to start off by saying that it's great to be in Ohio, and so many friends, members of Congress, local elected officials. It's an honor to be here with Tiffany. I know how hard it is for her, and I say I know I was in the position of her children. My dad went through the same thing, Mr. Mayor. Back in Scranton, Pennsylvania, he lost his job. And I remember him walking up the stairs, making what I call that longest walk a parent has to make to tell a child that he's going to have to leave. My dad didn't have an 8-hour ride. He only had a 3-hour ride, 3.5-hour ride. He moved to Wilmington, Delaware. Took a couple years before he could bring us back down to Delaware, come home every weekend, but to make sure that we were all together again. It's a hard slog. A lot of people have made that. And Tiffany, you're a wonderful, wonderful mother, teacher, and the way you talk about your husband, he and I have something in common. We both married way up. Look, I'm going to say that, my dad, when he was in, I apologize to Congressman Lamb, he's heard me say this a lot, but my dad, when we moved back to Delaware, said to move to Delaware, would say all the time to his children, my siblings and I, he'd say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to hold your head up. It's being able to look your child in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. That's what a job is about. And Tiffany, when I think about your husband taking that job 8 hours away, although it's 100 years ago, I think about my dad, and I'm mad your husband has the same stamina and you do as my mom and dad did. The fact is that when last night's debate in this election is supposed to be about you, Tiffany, about you and all the people I grew up with in Scranton and people in Youngstown and Claymont, Delaware, and all the people who make a difference. Does your president understand at all what you're going through, what so many other people are going through? Question is, does he see you where you are and where you want to be? Does he care? Has he tried to walk in your shoes to understand what's going on in your life? Or does he just ignore you and all the folks all over America who are in a similar situation? I think it's more than ignoring us. I look at things from Scranton perspective. He looks at it from Park Avenue. I think he basically looks down on us. He judges us. The fact is that I think that when he called our military, and I see we got some veterans here too. Thank you for your service, man. But when he called our veterans who lost their lives and served suckers and losers, I I thought it was one of the most despicable things that I've ever heard a president say, because you are soldiers or a veteran. You served your country like you did Connor, like my son did. And, what he does, he lies to you. He lies to you about exactly what's happened. Does he lie to you when, like this president did to your husband, that all the workers at the GM plant at Lordstown were going to be in good shape? Remember what he said? You said it, Tiffany. He said, don't move. Don't sell your house because no Ohio factory will shut down in Donald Trump's America. He doesn't pay his fair share. Don't worry about that. He doesn't pay his fair share in taxes. He says that makes him smart. What does that do? What does that make you, Tiffany? Make me and millions of other hardworking Americans, decent people who pay our taxes. Are we the suckers? Are we stupid because we go by the rules? He's too weak to beat the pandemic, costing more than 200,000 American lives. That's upended every part of our lives and hit working people particularly hard. Your businesses are closed and schools aren't back to normal because Donald Trump hasn't done his job. He hasn't pulled Congress together to provide real relief for working people, moms and dads and business owners. The fact is, Congress has passed a significant recovery bill, but he's too busy being in the bunker or in his golf course to call them into the White House to work out an agreement. He told FEMA to cut off funding for school PPE, masks, and protective gear because it's not a national emergency. His response during the deadly pandemic is to try to take your health care away by asking the Supreme Court to strike the Affordable Care Act in its entirety, wipe it out, taking us back to a time when insurance companies could deny you coverage for pre-existing conditions. And now, because of COVID, lung scarring or heart problems as a consequence of having survived COVID, that could be the next pre-existing conditions affecting millions of people. Taking away Medicare benefits for seniors. Throw your adult kids off your health care insurance. Think about his plan for your Social Security. The Social Security actuary said that if he follows through in his plan for Social Security will be, quote, bankrupt by 2023. It's clear he only cares about Wall Street and the super wealthy and the Fortune 500. He thinks they built this country. That's why he wants another $30 billion tax cut for the 100 wealthiest billionaires in the country who've already made $30 billion during this pandemic. So they'll pay a lower tax rate than you do as a teacher, a factory worker, a firefighter, a nurse. He gave a tax giveaway for corporations when they moved jobs overseas to sell goods back to the United States. And here comes the train that he tried to make sure didn't continue to run. No, that's the commuter. All right. No, that's what. But folks, look. You let big corporations jump in front of the line to get the recovery aid that Congress had passed, while small businesses are struggling to stay open. In the end, his measure of economic health is the stock market. And in 4 years as president, he's broken his promise. He's forgotten the forgotten Americans he said he was always going to fight for. But I never will forget. I know the middle-class working people built this country, and I measure our economic success by what families are talking about around their kitchen tables this morning, some of them with an empty chair because they lost a family member. The ones I saw every night on my train ride from Washington to Wilmington, Delaware. As I said, after my wife and daughter were killed when I was first elected, I started going home every single night. So I'd be there in the morning to get my kids, Bo, Hunter, and Ashley, ready for school. Actually, Jill, God love her, she came into our life 5 years later and made things good. For 36 years, I said I took that 250-mile round-trip journey each day. I'd get to know the train engineers, the conductors, the fellow passengers. And at night, I'd see the pinpoints of lights in the homes in the cities and towns along the way from Washington to Wilmington, wonder what those families were talking about after they put their kids to bed. My guess is the same thing that all Americans across the country are talking about today, asking questions as profound as ordinary as, will we be okay? Will we be able to keep our insurance? What are we going to do? Folks, this election is a choice between Scranton and Park Avenue values, between Cleveland and Park Avenue values, between Alliance and Park Avenue values. But it's also about something deeper. Can these parents look their kids in the eye and say, honey, everything's going to be okay? And these are the conversations I'm going to be having today in this whistle-stop tour through Ohio and Pennsylvania. Talking with the folks about how I'll get the virus under control, lay out the plan, bringing Congress together to provide relief and resources to schools and business so we can reopen our economy safely and strongly with a real plan and real leadership. Talking with folks about how I'd create good-paying jobs, union jobs, to support working families and build our economy back, not just back, but build it back better. How I'll protect your Medicare and Social Security, and how I'll fight to protect pensions, including fixing multi-employer pensions so that many union women and men in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Delaware, all across this country are able to keep what they earned and deserve. How I'll fight for American jobs with the dignity of work and make the wealthy and corporations begin to pay their fair share. How I'll protect your right to health care and build on and improve the Affordable Care Act. And how I'll always tell you the truth. I'll always care about you, whether you vote for me or not. If elected, I'm not going to be a Democratic president. I'm going to be an American president. Whether you voted for me or not, I'm going to be your president. And I'll never forget the people, the working people of this country, because that's what I come from. And that, if given just half a chance, the American people can do anything. Just like you, Tiffany, and your husband, you've stood up. You can do anything. I want to make something absolutely clear. There's overwhelming reason for optimism. Reverend, as you said, there's overwhelming reason. We just have to unite. The country is ready to do that. We're better positioned than any nation in the world to own the 21st century. We just have to do it and do it together. So I leave you, Rev, and thank you for your invocation by saying, God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep the faith. We're coming back. Thank you.